What's going on, BiggerPockets? This is Zeona McIntyre, and I'm here to talk to you today about the medium-term rental strategy. This video is called Medium Term Rentals 101. I am the co-host of the Investify podcast with Craig Curlop, also a BiggerPockets author, and I am the author of the 30-Day Stay, the investor's guide to mastering the medium-term rental strategy with Sarah Weaver. So today, we are going to talk about what is a medium-term rental and why would you want to do this strategy. All right, so what is a medium-term rental? Okay, so this is nothing new. These have been around for a long time. Medium-term rentals are executive rentals. So traditionally, business people would come into town for a couple of months, work from a local office, and then go back home. But now, since COVID, the world has opened up. A lot of people are working from home and they've become digital nomads, so they're living all over the world. This might look like living in Denver for a month and then moving to Austin and then moving to Hawaii. So I have literally seen that with some of my tenants. Some people actually live full-time on Airbnbs and don't have their own home. So they just kind of bop around the world and they live in medium-term rentals. And then the last tenant pool that we see so much are traveling nurses. So since COVID, there has been such a demand for traveling nurses, and they make a lot more than regular nurses. As you can imagine, with all these new tenants coming into the space, demand is so much higher than supply. And so we need to get out there and make more medium-term rentals for these people. Okay, so who am I? Why am I this person talking to you about medium-term rentals? Let's just do a little quick background on me. So I own 12 units across short, medium, and long-term rentals. I've been doing short-term rentals or Airbnbs since 2012, over 10 years. And at one point, I managed over 60 units in 5 countries. And what I like to tell people is that it's important to buy where it makes money and not necessarily where you want to travel to, right? So some of the places we're going to talk about today that are great for MTRs might not be your highest vacation rental destination. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create cash flow. We're trying to build wealth over time, right? So buy where it makes money, not necessarily where you want to travel to or where you want to live. Okay, so let's go into why. Why do you want to do this strategy? So let's go into the 5 top reasons that I have for why this strategy is great. Number 1, regulations or the lack thereof. So short-term rentals have gotten notorious about the regulations. First, it started in the bigger urban markets, and then it's been leaking into smaller cities, little hamlets. Almost everywhere is starting to outlaw or strictly restrict Airbnbs as a rental strategy. So you really just can't do as many short-term rentals. And what I love about the medium-term rental strategy is that after 30 days, you're kind of in this gray area. People are not looking at you like a short-term rental anymore. They're looking at you like a long-term rental. So you're getting kind of bunched in with those, and those have been around since the beginning of time. So you don't have as many hoops to jump through if you have to get a long-term license at all. They're pretty easy, straightforward, and cheap to get. You won't have to pay lodging taxes, and you don't have to jump through all the extra hoops of the permitting system in short-term rentals that are usually super confusing. So number 1, regulations. It is easy to get started. Number 2, cash flow. So cash flow these days on a long-term rental is hard to find, and people that are in that rental strategy have gotten used to saying, hey, if I can make $100 a month, $200 a month over my mortgage, that's good enough for me. For me, that's not good enough. I want to find something more, because if I have one maintenance issue, I might eat up a couple of months of my profit, and then what are we really doing here, right? So I don't like rules of thumb too much, but my general rule of thumb is that I like to get about $1,000 of profit in my units. And a reason I like that is because I like the buffer, but I also like the ease of calculating my financial independence, right? So if you have this goal and you're saying, hey, I want to get to $5,000 a month of cash flow, or I need $10,000 a month so I can retire, well, that makes the math easy. That means you need 5 units or you need 10 units. Right? So I like the simplicity and I like the space. So why I like the medium-term rental strategy is it gives you more cash flow than long-term. People are willing to pay more for the convenience of a furnished property and something that they can do on a really flexible, shorter lease. Now, it doesn't make as much as a short-term rental, but I'm gonna go into the third reason why I love this strategy, and it'll tell you why I'd prefer to do medium-term rentals. So the third reason is ease. With short-term rentals, you are dealing with guests coming in on average every 3 or 4 days, right? So in those 3 days, they need to learn everything about your house. How does the TV work? Where does the trash go? They're gonna ask you a lot of questions. And if that is your usual guest stay, it's gonna happen again and again and again, right? So there's a lot of guest communication, a lot of teaching. It's just a lot more work with a short-term rental. So with that medium-term rental, our typical timeline is 3 months. So generally somebody comes in, they learn your house in the first couple days. If they don't ask you something in that window, you may not hear from them their entire stay. Now that's what I like, right? So that's an easy tenet. The 3-month stay is because travel nurses usually have a 13-month contract and they often extend one term. And so that'll be 6 months, right? So 3 months, 6 months, very common. All right, let's go into number 4, less expenses. So if you've been kind of just dabbling in Airbnb saying, hey, I want to get into this strategy, I'm reading a lot of stuff, you might be seeing on social media a ton of hype around these really big numbers, right? I made $100,000 this month. What people are not telling you is those are their gross numbers and not net. And the problem with short-term rentals is that more than 50%, sometimes 75% of that income goes to expenses. And so we just don't have as much of that in the medium-term rental space. And if you've ever done your own books, you will appreciate that it's a little more predictable, right? You get one rental check, unlike a short-term rental where they pay you every time a guest checks in. So you might get 15 checks a month, all for a different price. It's very confusing. And then you just spend less, right? You only have a cleaner come at the end of their stay. You're leaving them with supplies at the beginning and you're not paying for things throughout. And you have your few utilities. So it's just a lot more straightforward for your books and it's a lot easier on your wallet. Okay, number 5, less competition in the space. So if you are an Airbnb traveler or if you've kind of just been dabbling in being an Airbnb landlord or host, you've probably seen that there are some real professionals in the space. We've got the best interior designers, boutique hotels, you name it, everybody is there on that platform now. It's a lot of competition. And what I love seeing is that even though medium-term rentals, you can be using Airbnb as a platform for your marketing, we also use a site called Furnish Finder. And on Furnish Finder, it is the Wild West. You are seeing mom and pops, you're seeing places with dark, dingy photos, very sparsely decorated. It's a whole different game. So to come in as a professional with the tools that we teach you in the book 30-Day Stay, you're gonna blow them out of the water and you're gonna be at that top 1% where you can earn the most, charge the most, get the most demand into your unit. So that is number 5. To go over them again, my whys for this strategy are the lack of regulations, the extra cash flow, the ease, the expenses are lower, and then number 5, less competition. If you are excited about this strategy now, do go and check out our other 2 videos, identifying a market for medium-term rentals and managing out of state and how to automate. We also have the book 30-Day Stay. Go get it at the BiggerPockets bookstore. And of course, like and subscribe for more great content. I'm Zeona McIntyre. See you later.